Glen and Dec, Time Well Wasted, Episode 6. Guilty Pleasures. How ya lads and ladies, welcome back to Glen and Dec. Time Well Wasted, the only horology podcast where the hosts know less than the watches they're reviewing.
Speak for yourself, you absolute gobshite. I know plenty. I just choose not to share it with you.
Fair. Anyway, today's episode is a special one. I named it Guilty Pleasures. We're diving into the guilty pleasure watches. The watches we love, but should absolutely hate. The watches that make no sense financially, emotionally, spiritually.
Basically, the horological equivalent of texting your ex at 2 a.m.
So, my dear Dec, define a guilty pleasure watch for the people at home. What is a guilty pleasure watch?
Simple. It's a watch you'd never admit to liking in public. Like, let's say the fella who secretly loves the Casio with the calculator buttons because he thinks it makes him look techie.
Or the lad who buys a gold Invicta the size of a satellite dish because he likes the presents.
Presents? It has its own gravitational pull.
I'd say that a guilty pleasure watch is the horological version of eating a whole tub of ice cream with a ladle. Right, I'll go first. My guilty pleasure?
The Seiko Pro Tuna. No doubt, the big one. 52 millimeters, the absolute monster.
The one that looks like you strapped a hockey puck to your wrist?
Yes, that one. I love it. It's ridiculous. It's huge. It's like wearing a manhole cover, but I adore it.
You look like a child wearing their dad's watch. It's like the watch is walking you.
Oh yeah, I look like a child, and you look like a man who's been dressed by a charity shop lucky dip. We all have our struggles. Now, your turn.
Mine? Let me think. The G-Shock in bright orange. My wife says that it's the one that makes me look like I'm either a deep-sea diver or a fella who got lost on the way to Electric Picnic.
You look like a traffic cone with feelings.
And yet, I love it. It's indestructible. It's cheerful. It's the only watch that could survive a night out in Temple Bar.
Right, story time. I've a guilty pleasure watch that nearly ended my life.
Here we go.
Declan, but don't tell anyone. Years ago, I bought a fake Rolex Yachtmaster on holidays. I know, shame. But I was young and stupid.
Nothing has changed. You're still stupid.
Anyway, I wore it to a family dinner. My uncle, who actually owns a real Y Act Master, spots it and goes,
Jesus, Glenn, that's lovely. Mind if I try it on?
"Oh no, you took it off? Glenn, you've the wrist stability of a newborn giraffe. You drop it faster than your New Year's resolutions." He puts it on and the clasp snaps clean off. The watch hits the floor like a dropped ham.
I knew it. Did he really drop it?
He looks at me and says,
Glenn, Rolex don't make clasps out of tinfoil.
I nearly died. I still have PTSD when I pass a jeweler.
All right, Glenn, you can count on me. Next time I'll bring a jeweler, a microscope, and a priest.
Jesus, Declan, would you look at the pair of us? Look now, I haven't noticed it. 2 watches so shiny you'd swear we were trying to signal aircraft.
Speak for yourself. Your Omega Aquaterra is reflecting the light like it's auditioning to be a lighthouse. I'm fairly sure I just saw it burn a hole in the table.
Ah, here. The Aquaterra's got Zaratsu adjacent polishing. It's meant to shine. It's craftsmanship.
Craftsmanship. Glenn, it's so polished, I can see my future in it. And it's just me squinting. At least my Grand Seiko snowflake blinds people with dignity.
Dignity? Your snowflake is so reflective it nearly took my eye out when you turned your wrist. It's like wearing a small angry sun.
That's Zaratsu polishing, Glenn. Hand-finished. Mirror-like. Educational moment for you there. It's meant to be flawless.
Flawless? It's a health hazard. If you flick your wrist too fast, someone in the Midlands will think the Garda helicopter's sending signals.
Right, relax. At least mine isn't iced out, like those moissanite monstrosities online. The ones that look like someone glued a disco ball to a bracelet.
True, those things could blind a man at 5 paces. Yours only does 20.
That's called restraint, Glenn. Taste, elegance, and also forgetting to wipe fingerprints off because I'm tired.
Fair. But between your snowflake and my Aquaterra, if the sun hits us at the wrong angle, someone's losing vision.
Grand. We'll call it public service horology. Educating the masses and accidentally scorching them.
Hold on, mate. Why is there a Hamilton Ventura in your watch roll? It looks like a triangle that lost an argument with a ruler.
It's iconic. Elvis wore it.
Elvis also ate fried peanut butter sandwiches at 3 a.m. Not everything he did needs to be repeated.
Relax. At least mine isn't your one. The Seiko Arnie. That thing looks like a dive watch, and a digital Casio got stuck together in a glue gun accident.
It's rugged.
It's confused. It's like Seiko couldn't decide between analog or digital and just said, feck it, stick both on, we'll sort it later.
Grand. But your Ventura looks like it was designed by a man who'd only ever seen watches described to him over the phone.
And your Arnie looks like it's about to ask me to get to the chopper, please.
2 watches, 0 cents.
2 owners, even less.
Right so.
Right so. Good luck, God bless, and may our next watches be designed by someone who wasn't hallucinating geometry.
Let me check, my dear Declan, what else you have there. Why is your Omega Speedmaster sitting there like it owns the place? It's lying in that roll with the confidence of a watch that knows it cost you a month's wages.
At least mine has history. Your Tudor Black Bay 58 is sitting there, like a feller who got promoted too fast and doesn't know what any of the buttons do.
Excuse me, the Black Bay is refined.
Refined? It's a dive watch for a man who panics when the shower gets too hot.
Grand. And your Speedmaster is for lads who say, I bought it for the heritage because they can't admit they just wanted the NASA story.
Better than buying a Tudor because you wanted a Rolex but didn't want the judgment.
At least I didn't finance mine.
That was one time, and it was interest-free.
2 expensive watches. 2 men pretending they're not sweating over the insurance premium.
Right so.
Right so. And may our next watches be cheaper, but we both know they won't be. Right, time for our listener question. This week's comes from Danielle in Arklow, who writes, Lads, is it normal to wear 2 watches at once? I've been doing it for years, 1 on each wrist. My husband says I look like a time-traveling scarecrow.
Danielle, no, it is not normal. Unless you're a rapper, a pilot, or a man who's lost custody of his sanity.
But fair play to you. You're living your dream. You're basically a walking dual-time complication.
Tell your husband to relax. At least you're not wearing one on your ankle.
I remember Diego Armando Maradona was wearing 2 watches, but these were valued more than
most people's houses. And that's not even an exaggeration.
That's right. Maradona famously wore 2 luxury watches at the same time, 1 on each wrist, during his time managing the Argentina national team. The reason?
He kept one set to local time, and the other set to the time back home in Argentina.
That was the idea. But of course, because he was Maradona, they weren't Casios.
They were 2 massive diamond-encrusted Rolexes, usually a day date and a yachtmaster, depending on the day, with a combined value well into 6 figures.
And he didn't just wear them, he committed to them. He made dual wristing look like a lifestyle choice. Just look at that. We've another question here. This one's from Eddie in Killarney. He says, and I'm reading this exactly as written, Lads, I'm thinking of enrolling in a watchmaker course. Any tips before I commit myself to a life of tiny screws and magnifying glasses?
Ah, Jesus, Eddie. A watchmaker course? Are you sure you're ready for that level of emotional damage?
He might be. He's from Kerry. They're built different down there.
True. But Eddie, listen. If you're the kind of man who loses his car keys twice a week, you're not ready to handle screws the size of a grain of couscous.
And if you've ever said the phrase, that'll do, you're already disqualified.
Also, Eddie, watchmaking involves patience. Real patience. Not waiting for the kettle to boil, patience. I mean, staring at a balance spring for 40 minutes wondering where your life went wrong. Patience.
He'll love that.
Eddie, I'm not saying you shouldn't do the course. I'm just saying, if you can't assemble IKEA furniture without crying, maybe start with a quartz battery change and work your way up.
There you go, Eddie. Follow your dreams. But maybe have a backup dream just in case.
Preferably one that doesn't involve tweezers and existential dread.
Anyway, good luck, Eddie. We're short on time. Right, let me check the script. So, it's time now for accessories. Watch accessories. Every collector should have one essential item.
A watch roll.
Or maybe a spring bar tool.
Or maybe a polishing cloth.
No, a tiny screwdriver.
A screwdriver.
Yes, because every collector eventually tries to adjust something they absolutely shouldn't.
Like you last week. Your wife told me. You tried to just tighten the bracelet on your Tudor, and the whole thing exploded like a grenade. Boom.
That's unexpected. I panicked. Springs everywhere. Looked like a mattress had been murdered.
So, dear collectors, buy the screwdriver.
But for the love of God, don't use it unsupervised. Okay, let's move on. And actually, I've a new idea, Declan.
What is it this time? Oh, Jesus Christ, Glenn. Every time you say, I have a new idea, my soul leaves my body.
Coffee?
Your ideas are like your watch straps. Flimsy, overpriced, and guaranteed to fall apart the second anyone puts pressure on them.
Let's call it the Guilty Pleasure Challenge. So, next month I suggest that we each buy a Guilty Pleasure watch for under €100.
Okay, and we have to wear it for a full week.
In public.
To work.
To family events.
To the Garda Reserve interview.
You'll be arrested before you're hired. Enough is enough. Well, right, lads. Next week's episode is going to be a cracker. I'm announcing it now. We're doing holiday watches. What to bring, what to leave behind.
You failed to mention. This is because I'm heading off to Spain next week. Sun, tapas, and a brand new watch on the wrist. Haven't decided which one yet, but I'm bringing something shiny enough to get me robbed.
That's right. And I can reveal we'll have a special guest next week. A man who once brought a €12,000 watch to Magaluf and lived to tell the tale.
Barely. His insurance company fainted on the spot.
Hey. So tune in next week for sunburn, sangria, and terrible horological decisions. And remember, subscribe to Horology Guide on YouTube.
We don't just need the validation.
No, we crave it. We feed on it. It keeps Declan's hairline stable and it stops him from buying another G-Shock in a colour that offends the public.
Every subscription adds 1 second to the lifespan of a vintage movement. Every like prevents a watch crystal from cracking out of pure despair. Every comment stops Glenn from starting another new idea.
So subscribe, do your part, save a watch today.
Right, lads, that's us wrapped. Grand professional effort from the two of us. In theory.
Oh yeah, pure professionalism. Especially when you did that long Irish sigh that said, I'm done with this fella.
That wasn't a sigh. That was me accepting my fate.
Fair. I pretended to fix the mic just so I wouldn't have to answer your last question.
And I pretended to agree with you, because I hadn't the energy to start an argument.
We're flying it.
We are. Right, so good luck, God bless. And we'll be back next week pretending we don't secretly annoy each other. Glenn, wait. I've a watch joke for you. You ready?
Go on, so hurt me.
Why did the watch refuse to go to the gym? Because it was already in good ticking shape. No, that's horrific. I actually felt my soul fold in on itself.
Dec, that wasn't a joke. That was a verbal pothole. I think I sprained my brain hearing it.
I don't know why I said it. It sounded better in my head. Everything sounds better in my head.
Your head is not a reliable testing environment.
I'm retiring from jokes. Immediately. Public apology pending.
Good, because if you drop another one like that, I'm calling the podcast ombudsman.
See you next week.